All right, while you were digesting, the Patriots visited the Vikings for a Thanksgiving Day matchup. We are 5 minutes left in the second quarter with the Vikings down 13-10, 3rd and 7 from their own 28. Kirk Cousins to Justin Jefferson. Get used to hearing that, Sacho.
Is there anything that he can't do? This is from the beginning to the end. Justin Jefferson has been making plays all season long. He continued on his great performance last night.
That sets this up 3rd and goal to T.J. Hockenson off play action. Big trade deadline pickup for the Vikings. They're up 16-13 after a missed PAT. Early third quarter now. Score tied at 16. Patriots 2nd and 7 from the Vikings 37. Mac Jones to Hunter Henry.
Hunter Henry. So it's hard to guard a tight end, especially when you're a smaller player. But Hunter Henry's elusive. He's got the ability to make people miss, especially when he's into the end zone.
Here's another guy that makes people miss. This is Kene Nwangu, set to return the ensuing kickoff for the Vikings, and return it he does. 97 yards for a touchdown to tie the game back up.
He had 2 last season. This third year player out of Iowa State, dominant kickoff returner.
Special teams weapon for the Vikings. Next Patriots possession, 3rd and goal. The Vikings 6. Jones finds Hunter Henry at the goal line. He dives for the touchdown. Or does he? The play would be reviewed, and the officials ruled that the ball touched the ground and caused Henry to lose control. Calls overturned. Henry can't believe it. Patriots settle for a field goal and go up 3. What do you think?
This is tough. In real time, it looks like a catch. When you replay it that slow, it looks like it hit the ground, so you got to go with what the ref called.
More on that in a second. Fourth quarter, 2nd and 1 near midfield for the Vikings. Cousins to Jefferson. Another ho-hum 36 yards. What do you think? This is a pretty good one.
9 receptions, 139 yards. Justin Jefferson doing what Justin Jefferson does. Leads the league in receiving yards. Unstoppable.
Cousins then on the next play, finding Adam Thielen in the back of the end zone for the toe tap. 15-yard touchdown. Vikings up 33-26. Now under 4 minutes left in the game. Patriots trying to stay alive. Mac Jones throws the screen to Ramondre Stevenson, who runs for 40 before getting shoved out of bounds.
112 scrimmage yards for Ramondre Stevenson. This dude is one of the best offensive players on this team specifically.
Outstanding young player. Later in the drive, 3rd and 7. Jones going to get sacked by Danielle Hunter. 9-yard loss. Frustration for the Pats. 2 minutes left in the game now. The Vikings fans are getting loud. It's 4th and 16. Here's Jones throwing deep to a diving Nelson Aguilar, but it's just out of reach. Turnover on downs. Vikings win 33-26. Hey, Bill Belichick, what did you think of that call getting overturned?
Did you get any explanation on the Hunter Henry catch that was overturned?
Why don't you guys go to the officials with your pool reporter and ask them about the play and let them explain it to you? Right? Isn't that what you do? Thank you.
Actually, that is what you do. And our Mike Reese was the pool reporter last night who went to Walt Anderson, the NFL Senior Vice President of Officiating, about that call. And the question from Mike was, he has 2 hands on it. How much is that factored into this decision? And Anderson responded, well, if he had maintained control of the ball with 2 hands, even if the ball were to touch the ground, you don't lose control of the ball after it touches the ground. That would still be a catch. So that is the explanation that Belichick was asking the media to go get for him. I wonder if he's satisfied with it. Ninko, or you? What do you think of that play?
Well, look, the Patriots have dealt with plays like that in the past. If you think back to the Steelers matchup where Jesse James, I think, was the guy that extended the football, touched the ground, and they called it a no touchdown. In this instance, you got to go with what the rule is. And if the ball touches the ground, you have to complete the catch fully. The ball did move a little bit. I know it's a really tough pill to swallow, but at the end of the day, they're going back to what the rules in place say and what the review showed. That's why they called it incomplete.
Yeah, watching, you can see why they overturned it. I guess there's argument to be made about whether, conclusive evidence, and you can kind of see the issue. What do you think of that one, Canty?
Yeah, Graz, I'm on the latter part of what you just said. I didn't think it was anything conclusive. The call on the field should have stood, but that's not why the New England Patriots lost the game last night. You still had 20 minutes of game clock left at that point. You lost the game because your special teams allowed a touchdown to open the second half, and they allowed a drive to continue for the Minnesota Vikings that resulted in a touchdown after your defense got a stop and got them off the field and forced them to punt. So that's what Bill Belichick should be furious about. There were a lot of stupid mistakes from the New England Patriots last night, and that's not something that we typically come to expect from Bill Belichick coach teams, especially a team that's fighting for their playoff lives.
Yeah, 6-5, the Patriots. I mean, look, they've calls go against you sometimes, but to Canty's point, they weren't able to overcome it. They made too many mistakes. Sacho, do you think the Patriots are a playoff team?
I don't. I don't think they're a playoff team. Defensively, they struggled, specifically yesterday. What is it, 80% completion percentage for Kirk Cousins, number one. And yeah, you could say, well, the weeks before they shut down the Jets. Well, Zach Wilson's benched now. Oh, they've been great. So when they're playing teams that have sustainable and sufficient offenses, they've struggled. And so that's why they're not a playoff team. And offensively, they're not what they need to be offensively.
Nico, what did you see last night from your former team?
Well, I saw some undisciplined play. You think on the personal foul on Adam Thielen when he was down on the ground in the spearing where he got hit in the head, that was a flag all day. There was a couple face mask penalties, then special teams running into the punter. When you run into the punter, you give them 5 yards, they score on that. So think about it. The Patriots basically gave up 14 points on special teams with a kickoff return for a touchdown, running into the punter, which extended a drive for another touchdown. That's undisciplined, and that's uncharacteristic of what a Patriot team looks like.
All right, big bounce back, though, for the home team, though. Minnesota, I mean, they had the beat down at the hands of the Cowboys on Sunday. They come back with a strong effort here. They're about to clinch their division. I mean, what do you think about Minnesota as a legit playoff contender?
It's the way they've been winning their games. They've had 6 come-from-behind wins, i.e. they've been down in the fourth quarter or overtime. That's it. People talk about, man, it's close games. Are there really, can we believe it? The NFL is all about one-score games. And what the Vikings have been able to do this year they haven't been able to do last year is win those one-score games. Remember last year, all those one-score games that they lost, it might have been 7 of them. This year, they've won 6. And so that's the confidence I have in this Vikings team. They know how to win it close. And in the NFL, that's what it shows all the games are going to be.
Canty, what did you see from Minnesota?
Hey, that dude number 18, pretty damn good at his job. I mean, Bill Belichick usually tries to take away your number one threat, and Justin Jefferson is clearly that for the Minnesota Vikings. But they didn't come close to being able to accomplish that. Justin Jefferson in the first half, 6 catches for 94 yards on the way to a 9-catch, 139 performance with a touchdown. The dude is unbelievable, and having him out on the field always gives that Vikings offense a chance.
And big reason, obviously, why Minnesota is 9-2 and in firm control of the NFC North. Lots more to discuss this morning on Get Up. When we come back, the Cowboys offense was cooking in the second half last night. Does Dallas have enough on offense? They need to add Odell. We'll talk about that next. Plus, it's the game of the year in college football. Can Michigan upset Ohio State tomorrow? A Buckeyes legend, and former Cowboy, by the way, stops by next on Get Up. So, Chris Canty, what is the rest of this? I mean, they're obviously going to try and make the playoffs, but they are a little undermanned, and we saw that yesterday with all the injuries and everything. If you're the Giants, what is the rest of this season about for you?
Well, it's about trying to make a playoff push, but secondarily, I think this is going to be a referendum on Saquon Barkley and Daniel Jones. How are these guys going to fit into Brian Daboll and Joe Shane's long-term plans in terms of this rebuild that they set out with at the start of the